Alright guys, this is a long playing review for Green Beret, the arcade coin-op machine from Konami in 1985. Well, it's released in Europe and Japan as a Green Beret, later re-released in America as Russian Attack. Russian Attack. Yeah, it's meant to sound like Russian Attack because the Cold War was pretty much at its height up to 1985. With Russia stockpiling nuclear missiles well above the American supplies, and tensions still high. Of course, it wasn't until Gorbachev came in was it late 1985 that things sort of died down with the Cold War. But yeah, this is a rather cynical cash-in on the Cold War, and it sees you as the Green Beret infiltrating a Russian air base, rescuing POWs. And as you can tell by the graphics you'll see throughout the game, it's quite clearly Russian foes you're fighting against. Right, okay, that was just the track sequence there in full, and we'll start the game off. Nice little intro sequence. And the game starts off with those famous alarm sounds. So kill the blue soldiers and you can pick up special weapons. Got a flamethrower there, you get free shots of the flamethrower. And you can use it to progress rather quickly and kill lots of enemies at the same time. You've always got the knife though, which you can use alongside the special weapon, because there's two buttons. First button's for your knife, second button is for a special weapon if you picked it up. So it's up to jump, which works quite well actually. I always like a separate button normally for jumping, like in Super Mario or something, and using up to jump can be rather awkward, but it works quite well here actually, to be fair. Now the first level is relatively short and easy. Only two types of enemies if you progress rather quickly. Up until like the sort of final battle here in this level. There's an army truck full of guys. And there's a guy in a white coat there that just ran out. He does flying kicks at you and you have to kill him by jumping and knifing at the same time. But that's the first level complete. Very easy to do, especially if you saved with the flamethrower. And on to the second stage, the harbour stage. It's 4 stages in total. It's actually quite a short game, as you can see. I complete this in under like 10 minutes. And of course, if you don't want to hear me jabbering away, you don't like my review or commentary, because I don't normally do this on arcade long plays, in the description below there's a link for an unlisted video of just the long play. Okay, and this level got a new weapon here, the rocket launcher. Gives you 4 shots. And we've got some paratroopers appearing now. Now I don't know who the programmers of this game were. As typical with many coin-op releases, they don't give programmers credit unless they have like an end credit sequence, which there isn't on this game. Once you complete the game, it just loops through on a much harder setting, and I'm doing this on basically default normal difficulty, and like basically one loop through. As for the Green Beret himself, well, British commandos in World War II were called Green Berets, and they were special, sort of basically the British Special Forces of the time, I suppose. And they had links with other military organisations, like for example America. And there are American Green Berets. I think they're the United States Army Special Forces, and they wear Green Berets too. Now I don't like this end of level here because you're killing dogs basically, and I don't think that's particularly cool in video games. Killing animals. Not a fan of that really. But I suppose it's nice to have a variety in like end of level bosses. Most games you just usually face like a giant boss, one guy or whatever. At least in Green Beret or Russian Attack, you get like basically lots and lots of enemies with attack patterns, and that's pretty good fun. Lots of conversions made with this game, of course. Blimey, ZX Spectrum, Commodore 64, even the Commodore Plus, Amstrad CPC. If you look at my channel, you'll find the long play of the Amstrad CPC version. There's the worst scrolling I've ever seen in an Amstrad game as well. Oh yes, actually, first of all, the start of this level 3 here is probably the hardest part of the entire game because of those grenade launchers and enemies swamping you, because you can get hit from below with those grenades as well. And actually, I find this probably the toughest part of the game, actually. Always have trouble with it. Watch out for those flying kicking guys as well. Remember to jump and use the knife. And it's really important that you use the grenades through this level if you want to progress nicely. Other versions, conversions, NES and Famicom had two slightly different versions. And it even made it to the Atari 8-bit, MSX and BBC Micro as well. Very popular at the time they were. I think Imagine Software had the license for most of the conversions, at least in the UK. The thing about this game is as well, you don't want to hang around too long. You want to try and make as much progress as you can, because you do end up getting swamped by enemies. And I've added an extra clip at the end of the video showing what happens if you hang around sort of in the same area for too long. Basically a stealth bomber comes along and kills you, which is pretty cool. I never knew that existed till I read that somewhere earlier, and I thought I'd check it out, and I've added that at the end of the video for you to have a look at. You might think it's quite easy to rack up like massive high scores by just staying at the start of level 1 and just laying there with your knife. Well, no, there is kind of a hidden time limit. These gyrocopter guys pretty easy, as long as you've got that weapon. Just time your jumps and time your shots. They're quite easily dispatched with. So yeah, basically I think this is the final area. The graphics are great for 1985. I love the sound effects and music, especially those sirens going off. Everything plays nice and smoothly. Collision detection is spot on. Whilst the music is relatively simple at times, it's definitely appropriate music and adds a lot of atmosphere to the game. Graphics are pretty colourful as well. Yeah, it's got really tight responsive controls, and sprites look and move great as well. It's a really fun game, and it always keeps me coming back every few years to have a blast through. Quite short, but it's fun. Simple action. I just wish it hadn't had the title Russian Attack, and they just stuck with Green Beret. Because I think it's a really crass, like, trying to cash in on the Cold War type stuff. Which, to be frank, is probably just another construct to keep us all scared and worried throughout for those decades in the 60s, 70s and 80s. We always have to have some kind of enemy and something to be scared and frightened of. Poor lowly public. But I'm not here to make political comments. I'm here to talk about games. I love a Green Beret. It's a wicked game. And if I had to give this a score out of 10, I'd give this an 8 out of 10 for an arcade game, especially from the mid-80s. It's in my probably top 10 arcade machines of all time. As for techniques of beating this game, you've got to develop your own. There isn't really a one true way of beating it every time. You just got to be really quick with your knife. Know your enemies, know when they're going to attack you. But basically, guys, this is the final bosses, the flamethrower dudes. Just give them a few seconds to appear on the screen, jump into them, and then knife them. And there we go. That's Green Beret beaten, and the prisoners of war rescued. Well done, mission accomplished. Proceed to next camp. Not much of an ending, and then things just loop around again, but they get a little bit tougher this time. And I think the world record for points on this game is around about the 300,000 plus mark. And remember, watch the end of the video, you see very shortly a clip what happens if you stick around too long trying to rack up points. So you've got to keep moving. But I'll just jump there to show you the game over sequence and high score table. And that's Green Beret, one of my favourite arcade games of all time. If I had to give it a score, as I said, 8 out of 10 from me. I don't normally do commentaries on arcade games, but I'm going to start doing them. But I'll also upload an unlisted video of the long play without any commentary. But this is quite a short one, so not a great amount of time to talk about a lot of stuff. But here we go. Here's a clip of what happens if you stick around trying to rack up points for too long. After about 30 seconds, suddenly harder enemies will start appearing, and if you're on level 1, that will be the basically the flying kick guys, which you don't see right until the very end, sort of boss battle. Probably will start. It's about 30 seconds now. Here they go. They'll start appearing, and about another 20 seconds, around about the 50-second mark, stealth bomber will appear. You'll hear the noise, and it's pretty much near impossible to avoid it. So there we go. Thanks for watching, guys. See you again soon. Here comes the stealth bomber. Cheers. Bye.